What is up, everybody, and welcome back to your Average Joe Sports Network. I'm your host, Drew Hoover, and we're going to do another segment of draft needs. We're getting towards the end of this, and we're weeks away from the NFL draft, and so, man, I am so excited to get this started right here. And we are going to go to the NFC West, and we're going to start with the San Francisco 49ers, who hold the number 3 pick. And for those who don't know, let me give you a refresher. They previously owned the number 12 pick. And then through a circle of trades, as you will, they ended up with the number 3 pick through the Miami Dolphins. Now, if you want more details on that, either look at NFL.com, ESPN, or even look at my previous video on breaking news. So the 49ers now hold the number 3 pick. And the moment they did that, everyone knew it was going to be for a quarterback. Now, we know that Trevor Lawrence is going to be the number 1 overall pick. We're almost certain it's going to be Zach Wilson. Justin Fields' name still keeps getting slipped in there. But at the moment, Zach Wilson is favored to be the number 2 pick. So you're wondering who is left at number 3 to be the quarterback of the future. The first name that came up when the trade happened was Trey Lance, the quarterback from North Dakota State. We've talked about him before. I talked about the comparison to Steve Young. I keep watching the film. Man, I at one point, maybe it's the 5 on his bag, but I got some Donovan McNabb vibes from back when he was at Syracuse and when he played for the Philadelphia Eagles. And man, to have that kind of quarterback, and when I look at the 49ers, man, I think that Super Bowl where they lost to the Chiefs is still fresh in their minds. And the fact that even though they had him for 3 quarters, it wasn't enough to stop Patrick Mahomes. Because Patrick Mahomes is one of those quarterbacks that they had the best defense. And they had a great defensive coordinator, Robert Saleh, to prepare. And there's just some things you can't prepare for when it comes to playing against Patrick Mahomes. And when you have a quarterback like Trey Lance, I feel like it's going to be hard for defenses to game plan against. There's also Justin Fields. I'll throw his name in there. And, I feel like it could be a good fit right there. I've mentioned in my previous video when I was talking about him possibly being drafted by the Bears that I did have some hesitancies on him before, but after watching the film, I feel like he can succeed at the next level. He's definitely got the competitiveness, the sportsmanship. He's definitely got the intelligence. He's able to maneuver within the pocket. He's able to scramble like a Kyler Murray would or a Deshaun Watson would. Again, not to their quality yet, but I feel like there's a lot of potential there. And yet, after all that is said, there's still the quarterback that everyone this quarterback, not saying he's not a good quarterback. I'm just saying this quarterback, the moment his name popped up, has caused a lot of controversy. And his name is Mac Jones, quarterback from Alabama. And again, I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. He's a good quarterback. He's the top 5 quarterback in this draft. But it just doesn't make sense when you consider the fact that, first of all, if they wanted Mac Jones so bad, they could have stayed at number 12. I don't see any competition there for Mac Jones, leading up to that point. There was a lot of experts that saying that Mac Jones could have probably been either a late first rounder or an early second rounder. So there wasn't competition for Mac Jones there. And they traded up to the number 3 spot. They gave up all those picks. And there's a lot of players that are worthy of the number 3 pick. It's just not Mac Jones. But again, like I decided to do the approach like I did with Justin Fields. Decided to take it back and look at the film. He's 6'3", 217 pounds. He's good at, taking care of the ball. He's safe. He doesn't try to force a ball into a tight spot. He has very good pocket presence and moving up into the pocket. He's a very accurate passer. There was one article that even made the comparison to Tom Brady. I am not going to make that comparison. But nonetheless, I think there is potential there. And I think he's got a good story. If you want to hear all of his story, there's an article called Jokes on You, the Mac Jones story on NFL.com by Chase Goodbread. Look that up. There's a lot of story of what he had to go through to become the star that we saw last year, who won the award for the nation's best quarterback. You talk about having to be behind both Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa. You talk about where he had opportunities to transfer out so he had a chance to play, but he stood where he was. And I know there's a lot of doubts because, like I said, the talent he's surrounded by. You're talking about Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith. You're talking about the offensive line that's in front of him. You're talking about Najee Harris in the backfield. And yet, I feel like there's a lot more to this young man than meets the eye. I still don't think he's worthy of the number 3 pick. Frankly, I don't think he was worthy of the number 12 pick if the 49ers would have picked him then. I kind of consider him as a second-round quarterback. But, heck, it's Kyle Shanahan's offense. He wants to put whoever he wants in there. I just don't think it's an upgrade from Jimmy Garoppolo. As a matter of fact, I think they're getting the exact same, almost the exact same. I think he's more mobile and better moving in the pocket than Jimmy Garoppolo. But other than that, I don't see them getting any farther. Because pretty much what Jimmy Garoppolo has done has gotten him to the Super Bowl. I don't even see Mac Jones even doing that, but we'll see what happens. So let's move on from that pick right there and move on to building the rest of the team. And when I look at the defense, they still got some good players on the defensive line. They got Nick Bosa, who will be back from injury. Solomon Thomas, he was injured last year. He could have been back, but he decided to move on. They still have Eric Armstead on the defensive line. They could go linebacker, but I'm focused more on the back end, the defensive back end, specifically because of the absence of Richard Sherman, considering the fact that he's saying he's not signing with anybody until after the NFL draft. And if I'm the 49ers, I'm not taking any chances. When I look at this this division right here, you have to face Arizona with DeAndre Hopkins and now A.J. Dillon. You talk about Seattle with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. You talk about even the Rams with Cooper Kupp and so on and so forth. I want to make sure that I can be able to defend the deep passes, and because Kyler Murray can throw it long, Russell Wilson can throw it long, and now they got Matthew Stafford who can throw it long. And so there's a cornerback named Tyson Campbell, cornerback from Georgia at 6'1", 193 pounds. This man is the ultimate man-to-man cover. He knows how to read routes. He's good at anticipation and getting his hands in there. He's good at getting the ball out. And outside of Patrick Surtain, I think those two guys are the ultimate man-to-man cover corners in this draft. And like I said, when you talk about those big names I mentioned, man, you got to be able to stay on them, and not give up an inch to any of these wide receivers. Otherwise, they'll use it to make a big play. So I think Tyson Campbell gives them an opportunity to limit what these offenses in their division can do. And so let's move on to the Arizona Cardinals. And, Cliff Kingsbury has totally changed the culture. The drafting of Kyle Murray, we know that's paid off. I know there's a lot of controversy when they already had Josh Rosen, but obviously that's paid off. They got lucky in the trade with DeAndre Hopkins. Again, they signed AJ Green. I am hoping that his best days are ahead of him, and the playmaking ability is just the same as DeAndre Hopkins, so I'm excited to see if AJ Green we can see the AJ Green from mold. But I look at the defensive side, and they've been trying to slowly build that defense. Chandler Jones is quietly one of the best pass rushers in the league. They got J.J. Watt. They got Isaiah Simmons from Clemson last year with a first-round pick. But I look at the defensive back end, again, a star cornerback is not present there. Patrick Peterson has signed with the Minnesota Vikings, and so they're really missing a big piece right there. They have added some cornerbacks over the years because I think they saw this coming, but I still feel like they would like some support on the defensive back end, and I think they'll go safety right here because there's a man named Trevin Mihrig, safety from TCU. Man, these names don't let up, do they? Anyway, this safety, and man, you talk about the winner of the Jim Thrope Award, and you gotta love safeties that can play like a linebacker because they can play in open space. They're open tacklers. They're big hitters, and they can also read the field. And this guy has excellent ball skills. This guy, can go from sideline to sideline. Wherever the ball is, he can track it down, and he's gonna pop someone in the mouth. And to me, I think he brings that kind of, like I said, when you talk about the players they already have, Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt, Isaiah Simmons, these are all hard-hitting players. And to me, that just fits the kind of player that they want on that defense. But let's say they go offensive side, and I think the second round is where they go. I was really hoping that maybe they could go Travis Etienne in the first round, but there's a lot of experts that's saying that Travis Etienne may not be picked until sometime in little towards the 20s. I would like Arizona to pick him at number 15 right there. I think that's his highest ceiling right there that Travis Etienne can go. But let's say that it's the second round and Travis Etienne's gone by then. They've lost a chance at them. Najee Harris is gone. So who do they have left to pick? I think there's a running back that fits the kind of running back that they gravitate towards. And that is Trey Sermon, running back from The Ohio State University. This guy originally played in Oklahoma, so this is Kyler Murray's old teammate. And so he'll see a familiar face when he's down there. This guy has a combination of acceleration and power. He knows how to end his runs. He knows how to go through his cuts. I feel like he could be either a one-cut running back or a zone running back. I feel like he can do both. And most importantly, he's a receiving running back. When you talk about the running backs that have been there, Kenyon Drake, he's not with the team anymore, but he had major success as a receiving running back. Talk about the running backs that's still there. Chase Edmonds is still there. They just signed James Conner. I don't think they'll be satisfied at the running back position. And you got a guy like Trey Sermon, who, by the way, last year during the Big Ten Championship, broke Eddie George's rushing record with 331 rushing yards. I feel like this, you can't help but add to that backfield right there. And I think Kyle Murray would love to have a familiar face at the running back position. And now let us go to LA and talk about the Rams. And man, I'm still questioning the decision to trade away Jared Goff. This kid took him to the Super Bowl, and to me, I'm still questioning it. Not saying that Matthew Stafford isn't a good quarterback, and I understand the connection between Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, but man, Jared Goff was part of the reason that they were able to get as far as they were in the playoffs last year when they beat Seattle, and then when they were fighting against my Packers in the divisional round. So, but nonetheless, they're gonna move on from here, and just like last year, they also don't have a first-round pick, but they seem to do a very good job despite that. Last year, their first two picks were Cam Akers, the running back from Florida State, and then Van Jefferson, the wide receiver from Florida. So I'm not really concerned, but I feel like they need to build that defense. Obviously, you still have Aaron Donald there. You still have Jalen Ramsey there. But I feel like outside of that, they need more playmakers, and I think that starts at the front seven right here. And there's a guy that can be used in multiple ways that I feel like can make a huge difference, and that is Joe Tyron linebacker from Washington at 6'3", 259 pounds. Sorry, that is 6'5", 259 pounds. Man, this guy's got a long arm, long frame. This guy's got a great burst off the edge. He knows how to get underneath offensive linemen, get the advantage, and get to the quarterback. And he also can do it from multiple positions. He can play on the left side, he can play on the right side, and he could also play in open space. And the thing about this Rams defense is they like to move those pieces around there. It's a really unique defense they got going on in LA. And so I feel like when you got a guy like this that can get to the passer and you can put him in multiple positions and give the offense different looks, I feel Joe Tyron is a good addition to have on that defense. And I don't feel like they're going to stop there. I feel like Jalen Ramsey can't do it by himself. Marcus Peters is now in Baltimore. So I feel like he could use some help on the back end because, so I feel like there's a defensive back that they can go towards that I feel like fits their whole attitude. And that name is Aaron Robinson, cornerback from UCF. A lot of people have him going somewhere maybe in day 3 and stuff, but this guy had a heck of a pro day. This guy ran very fast. I think it was a 4.39 at his pro day. And when I look at the way this guy runs, man, I think he's similar to Richard Sherman. Maybe not as physical and stuff, but he's definitely good in the man coverage and stuff. He's 6 foot, 186 pounds. He's got the size, the speed, the quickness, and agility. He's a guy that will pretty much knock the ball out. He's a bruiser. He can tackle. It's particularly benefits in the run support. And I feel like, I mentioned the attitude, man. You talk about the beast mentality of Aaron Donald and the talk of Jalen Ramsey. And I just feel like he just fits that attitude that they have going on that defensive side, where they punch people in the mouth, they don't ask questions, and they don't have to explain things to anybody. So I feel like if they get a corner like that isn't afraid to lower his shoulders, that has that quickness to make a play on the ball, I feel like the Rams need to take a shot at Aaron Robinson. And so let us move on to the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I've had teams in the past that have made it difficult for me to analyze. Remember when I did the Houston Texans? They didn't even have a pick until round 3. Well, get this. Seattle only has 3 picks in the entire NFL draft. A second rounder, a 4th rounder, and then a 7th rounder. That is it. And so that kind of makes sense of why they were trying to trade Russell Wilson. I still think it was a stupid decision to even consider it, but nonetheless, it would have given them the capital they need to fill the needs of this, on this team. But I guess they got to deal with what they got right here. And so, when you talk about like these picks and stuff, they got to go big or go home. They can't be afraid to take chances right here. And so it starts at the defensive line position. Man, they tried to make Jadeveon Clowney work. It didn't. He moved around to Tennessee, and now he's the big signing with the Cleveland Browns. The days of Michael Bennett are long over. He spent some time in Philadelphia and stuff. But man, the part of the Legion of Boom, we talk about the defensive back position, but there was the part of what made the defense so good when they were going to the Super Bowl was that pass rush. That was part of it. And I feel like they've lost it, and they've been struggling to find it ever since. And so there's a guy that, even though they've lost David Clowney, I feel like this guy brings the same thing to the table. And that is Patrick Jones, the second defensive end from Pittsburgh. And to me, 6'4", 261 pounds. He's pretty much got the same size as length as Jadeveon Clowney. Man, this guy's got unbelievable speed and burst off the edge. Probably one of his favorite moves is the spin move. He does it so well to get off the blocks and get to the quarterback and stuff. I still feel like he needs to refine his technique, and I feel like he needs to be more intentional with his hands. But I think that's something that they can work right there. And like I said, they need something on there. And to me, even though Patrick Jones seems like a risk, the upside, if it pays off, I think they got to consider that, in the second round. So what happens when they go to the fourth round? At the fourth round, there's a lot of slim pickings, but there's still a few fourth rounders that I feel like can end up making a difference right there. And I think the next thing when you get your pass rusher, again, is to go in the back end. I feel like it keeps going to the back end. There's a lot of defensive back needs in this division, and I think Seattle definitely needs a corner somehow, some way in this draft. And there's a corner that I feel like could be a sleeper in this draft, and that is Amari Vinson Jr., cornerback from LSU at 5'10", 185 pounds. Man, again, another man that got noticed when he ran a fast 40-yard dash, ran under 4.4. You're talking about a man that not only can play corner, but he can play free safety. He can play in the slot, in the nickel. This guy's got great footwork. He's really loose in the hips. He's smart, but he's still got to work on a few things. He's got to work on his recognition. I think he's got to work on his tackling. But it's got to start somewhere, and I feel like he gives you a shot to, like I said, have a chance at defending some of these big playmakers that are coming in the NFC West. And that is where we end this segment. We are one division away from finishing off draft needs right here. And like I said, the NFL draft is coming very close, which means that eventually I will be announcing my 2021 NFL mock draft. I will let you guys know as soon as as I'm getting ready for it. Like I said, the plan is to get it the week of the NFL draft, maybe a few days before. Again, trying to wait for every article, every source of information to come in before I publish it. But yeah, the NFL draft is coming very soon, guys. I'm very excited. And again, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to click on notifications so you don't miss any of my videos. And make sure to share it with all your friends and share this experience with me as we move towards the 2021-2022 NFL season. And have a good day, everybody.